How you doing? John Tech here again. Welcome back. Hopefully everyone's had a nice Easter weekend. Had some time to spend some time with family, with relatives, doing things around the house. Hopefully you're staying safe and healthy. A huge thanks to all the family and friends who are supporting my little channel. I'm hoping that this is providing some education for the kids, for some education for students and people who are interested in science and engineering all over the place. So this is really just here just for you because it's so difficult in some ways to bring science into the home that I wanted to provide kind of a more of a quality-based channel. Just do what it is that I like to do. So hopefully you're all having a fun time. One of the things that I have to do every single season change, which living in Cleveland, we have Cleveland has season changes that occur sometimes on a dime, so to speak. So we get changes that, for instance, this Thursday it was actually snowing, and then today it was good enough to go out with just a long sleeve shirt on, or somewhere around like the 60s is where it was. So it really does kind of change often. And one of the things that has to happen during the change is that I've got two outdoor machines. I have a snowblower for the winter, and I've got a lawnmower for the summer. My snowblower that was actually donated over to me, and a gift that was received over by a cousin of the Mrs. John Tech, so to speak, is in really, really good condition, and I keep it in that way. I keep everything oiled and lubricated up. But the lawnmower that I have was built somewhere back in maybe the 1990s, 1980s. I'm not quite sure when that happened. So it usually takes a little bit more coaxing to be able to get the lawnmower going after it's been sitting all winter time. And I try to leave it in a state to where it's okay. The gas tank has a small leak, so it stays dry. But one thing that always seems to have to happen is I always have to change the spark plug. The tank is, I mean, the lawnmower is old, so it's leaking oil down into the spark plug valve, where this is just a basic single spark plug. And what I did was, I know I replaced this one last year, and so I took it out, and it wasn't starting up, and I put in a new spark plug, and of course it after all the normal maintenance and everything happened to the lawnmower, it started up right away afterwards. Well, with the with a guzzle and a belch, and of course the oil exhaust had a huge burp of smoke that came out of it. The engine's just not in good shape, and I'm more of an electrical person more than a mechanical person. But I saw this spark plug, and I thought, I was like, I replaced this last year. It doesn't seem like it's in that bad of a shape. In fact, when putting it underneath the microscope, the spark plug, so actually here, before I do that, the spark plug that I've got is some first fire spark plug. I don't exactly know what I'm buying when it comes to this. It's just whatever I normally can get for the lawnmower. It's probably something I got out of one of the basic hardware stores. This spark plug has an end of it right here that the plug plugs into, which goes all the way into a center, not the little hook pin. There's actually one deeper on the inside of that. There's one there's a post that's a little bit deeper on the inside, which is the post that is located right in this area here. If you can see that center one, the center pin that the actual plug goes into, that's what plugs into it. Now the outside post is actually just straight connected up to the threads that are on here, which is connected up to the main bolt, which is just basically the chassis of the motor system. So when this thing needs to start, when someone cranks the lawnmower or engages a starting mechanism of some sort, provides a jolt of electricity between the plug, the actual part that the plug is plugged into, which is connected up to this part right over here, and then the outside hook that's over here is connected up to the main part. There is a gap, there is a small amount of gap, but if you give it enough voltage, if you give it enough electricity on the start, basically by revving the motor or pulling the chain enough times, give it enough force, that will cause a spark to occur, which will make it to where the spark ignites some of the fluid that's on the inside of the tank, which allows the engine to roll over at that point with enough force, which eventually just engages the engine. Should the engine be well lubricated enough? I think my engine is probably it's got oil inside of it, but it's probably reaching a stage, especially if the spark plug chamber is leaking oil in there. I know that's not a good thing. I'm probably going to have to take a very close look at that at some point when I get a chance to it. But the spark plug itself is actually, this one right here is so dirty, in fact, that it just was not able to engage. And when I actually first pulled it out, I noticed that there's a lot of black gunk on here. This stuff should look nice and more like shiny metal, and it definitely does not. In fact, you can actually tell on that ring, on the right hand side of the ring here, where there is some areas where the metal is still showing, and then some other areas where it's definitely a lot more oily and gunky. Ugh, is what it is. So we thought I'd experiment around with some various cleaning methods underneath the microscope to see if this would actually work. Also, applying a little bit of the a little bit of electronics, because that's kind of what I'm good at here. I have got a tool, what we call a multimeter. The multimeter has a feature on it when I switch it to the little horseshoe looking position, actually the one with the little sound to it on there, what we call continuity. Now, continuity is, in a nutshell, is there an easy path for electricity to flow through, which is what we want on some parts of the pin, but not between the two of them. I have two electrical probes, red and black. Red is being held in my right hand right now, and if I put them together, there is an audible beep of the multimeter, and in fact, let me shorten down my chair just a little bit, see if I can get everything down into one shot. If I hold this together, the number on there shows what we call the electrical resistance, and for a short circuit, you generally want very little electrical resistance to actually show up. For instance, if I were to take the brass nut here and just put both of them, again, red in my right hand, black in my other, notice that it is connected. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and touch the hook with the keeping the red on the more like the metal part here, and put the black on here. Notice that there is no beep. And that is because it is covered in gunk out of the engine, probably bad oil is what it is, and normally I'd want to have some sort of a connection there. So right now there's basically some interference which does not allow the spark plug to be able to generate a spark, neither on this one or on the normally speaking, if I've got on this end here, I've got the ability to, excuse me, can I come on in here? Is this okay? Oh gosh, this is actually, looks like it might be in pretty bad shape as well. Here, this one's a little bit round, so I'm actually going to do this just kind of right here, and I've got something to it there, but it's still kind of scummy and cruddy to it. We're going to try some cleaning methods to both of these. I'm sure that the inside of there, I'm not going to be able to connect up to that. So let's. I just wanted to try a couple of general cleaning methods just to see what, if anything, might work to salvage this. This isn't an expensive part or anything like that. I really could just go to the hardware store and possibly buy a new one of these for very likely around $10 or something like that. I don't know how much a lawnmower spark plug costs. If you know how much a lawnmower spark plug costs, leave a comment in the comments below. Let me know, because this might be something that I have to purchase frequently. In fact, I have actually had to purchase it frequently. I've purchased it by frequently once per year for the last couple of years. The previous ones, I've just the first one I pulled out and I was like, I'm surprised this is working at all. And now this is getting to the point where I need to actually pay a little bit more attention to the lawnmower. So I've got a couple of things that I wanted to kind of use to try out whether or not they actually would even work or so on this spark plug. And I don't know if this is going to work. Some of this may not work. I've got no idea when it comes to some of these things. I'm kind of doing this impromptu just to see if there's anything that does actually show out of this whatsoever. So one of the things that I often like to use for cleaning up oils, things like that, would be some isopropyl alcohol. I happen to have just a little bit left behind, which I actually keep in a blue container, which has a little pump that's on there. As you can see, I really don't have very much. I'm working with somewhat of a limited supply, but I've got some isopropyl alcohol and a kind of a Q-tip here, if you will. And what I'm going to do is while the plug is being held in the with a helping hand, is just try to see if this has any sort of effect. So I'm kind of rubbing this along here. You can see I am picking up something, which is good. I'm picking up something. I'm going to kind of help my helping hand to hold this into place. And yeah, that is somewhat having an effect of some way. It's definitely changing its color. And isopropyl alcohol, what that does is this is causing, I can really actually see way deep down there is some stuff on the inside. Ugh, you see all that? Engine people out there probably looking at this going, come on, man, it's time for a new lawnmower. And it may actually be for me here. I'll have to kind of report. Let me just kind of dig down and into there just to see. Holy cow! Yeah, that is definitely something that's going to need some cleaning. I'm going to put the previous Q-tip down. What I'm actually going to try next here is I've got a toothbrush is what I've got, and I'm currently looking at this at approximately 10x magnification. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some isopropyl alcohol on my toothbrush and sort of sit here and just kind of splashed it all over the place there, and kind of sit here and try and just see if a little bit of some scrubbing. This is a soft bristle toothbrush. I just want to see if there's any visible effect, anything like that. Kind of don't see anything. I don't see anything off on the toothbrush, but I definitely see things falling off on the on there. I'm actually going to switch. I'm going to switch this to my right hand, just because I'm a little bit more. It's a little bit easier for me to work around with my right hand. There we go. Applying a little bit of some isopropyl alcohol. I don't know the percentage of this might actually, I think, be electronic grade isopropyl alcohol, so it's probably a content which is quite high. I can really see at this point some of this affecting the stuff that's more on the inside more than anything, and actually on this kind of the surrounding area, the stuff that's like around the outside of this, I definitely see some loose pieces, if you will, and I am definitely picking something up off of the on the toothbrush as well. So this material is having an effect. I'm going to give this a little bit more force, where I'm cleaning the end part of it right here. I'm going to definitely give this a little bit more force before I come back at it with a Q-tip. And again, I'm just kind of experimenting around with these things. I don't know if some of the stuff will work. Is there a better alternative? Is there a better thing for me to do, such as just buy a new one? Might be the better route to take. Probably might be the best route to take, to be all honest with you. Yeah, look at the Q-tip. Look how black that Q-tip is getting with by absorbing some of the stuff. I can actually really get into it almost a little bit better with the real Q-tip itself. I'm going to get inside of the chamber now. What is that stuff? What is that stuff? That stuff right there, that is yuck. That is what that is. That is absolute yuck. All right, so let me try and get a whole lot more going all the way around on the inside. You can actually, one of the things I don't know if you can tell from here, is that the inside of it now has a little bit more of a shine associated with it, and the outside kind of does as well. I'm going to hit the outside edge with a little bit of some material as well. And I'm kind of doing this on the outside ring. This is probably something where if I let this soak in this isopropyl alcohol overnight, I might actually have a little bit of a better effect. I'm going to actually hit this now with a little bit more toothbrush which is just my main. It's an abrasive. I'm approaching it with an abrasive material, while the chemistry in the isopropyl alcohol is helping to break down the crud, if you will, the stuff that the stuff that comes out that's actually probably just nothing more, really more than dried up oil is more or less just what that is. Going back under, I'm gonna try to do what I can underneath the microscope, but due to the 3D-ness and the fact that this is a tall part, this is kind of hard for me to be able to get. Look at that, yucky! Look at that stuff right there. No wonder this spark plug wasn't really working. There might actually be there probably is a little bit more better tools for being able to better tools and/or chemistry for being able to remove these oils from here. I actually want to try one other thing just to say that I have tried it. One of the things that I happen to have is electronic grade fluxing agent, which is a cool material that's used in electronics that ultimately, when heated, it turns into when it's heated, it turns into an acid. It's what we call activating it. The activating of a fluxing agent, when you apply heat to it, ultimately helps to clean the surface off. It kind of does a variety of functions on circuit boards, most definitely making a better solderable joint by cleaning the surface of rusts and or skin oils that might be present. But I actually want to give this a try. I'm going to dispense. So the fluxing agent I have comes in a little syringe barrel. I'm going to apply some of the fluxing agent to just kind of some general parts. Again, this is a more or less just a throwaway spark plug is what this is. And now what I've got is a soldering iron. Is actually what I have here. And what I'm going to do is, at a temperature of about 640 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm going to activate the fluxing agent. I just want to see if this has any sort of visual effect. And that smoke that you see that's coming out of it, that's what happens. Those are the fumes that get generated when the fluxing agent actually begins to activate. Now, I don't see anything happening right away, and I might just not have the right fluxing agent to be used for the right stuff here. I don't see it having a major effect to what it is that I'm working on. People who are working in the automotive industry right now are probably cringing at me going, no, what are you doing? Yeah, in which I kind of fully, I'm with you on that. Never send an amateur to do a professional's job, and more often than not I don't, but I thought, hey, I've got some extra materials here. I wanted to just see if anything like this would actually work, which doesn't look like that fluxing agent really did anything. The fluxing agent that I've applied to this right here really did just about nothing, is more or less what it did. This is purely well, maybe not. Maybe not. Part of that does actually look like it's just a little bit better. I don't know if that's just me. I'm going to try and hit it a couple more times with the toothbrush. It actually does kind of look like it worked just a little bit better. It looks like it did. Not a huge result. And again, this might be something more or less where I would have to normally let this sit underneath in a cleaning bath for a long time in order for this to actually see a real visual effect to it. Would probably have to be something a little bit more like that, or just use something that has a little bit more abrasiveness with the material here. That's actually, so that's looking a lot better. That's looking at this point like it might actually be a feasibly working product. So like it might actually start up the lawnmower, especially if the chamber in the lawnmower has any sort of cleaned area for it to start up in as well. I'll tell you, the inside of the so I'm looking around the inside of the spark plug right now, and it's definitely still got some stuff that's deep down on the inside of this. But let's give this a multimeter try again. See if I've gotten anything that's a little bit more continuous compared to where I had it. Because where I had it was where I had it was in a pretty bad shape is where it was. So to start out with the multimeter, when you're setting it for continuity, always double check to make sure that your probes are actually connected up to where there's a beep. The red probe is in my right hand, black probe is in my left. I'm going to check the, kind of zoom out a little bit here. I'm going to check the barrel first. Hey, there we go. Got a nice continuousness there. Now we'll check the little hook pin that's coming to it over here. Hey, well, that's something better than what I had before. Yeah, I may actually have something. If I scrub this hard enough with enough material, I might actually get something out of this. It's not nearly what it looks like on the actual this part of it here. This does need to be hit by some sort of probably a better cleaning solvent of some sort. I imagine methyl ethyl ketone probably does another form of thing. Maybe acetone might actually work a heck of a lot better than what this is, how this is working here. But the other oh, you know what I didn't clean? I did not clean the part that actually has the wire that plugs into it at all. I'm going to try to give that a little bit of a scrub down as well and try and clean off any kind of material there. This cleaning solvent that I have really does not seem to affect the residue that is left behind from an engine area. So now I'm going to try and just connect up to the inside pin. And I'm surprised. I'm holding the red probe against, this is going to be really hard to show, I am holding the red probe against the part where the wire actually goes into. I am taking the black probe and I am putting it on the part that's deeper on the inside of it here, and I was getting, gotta maybe just hold it in the just right way. Well, it was getting a something to it there. I'm not getting anything. Do I need to do this? It might just be, it might literally just be too much contamination. Yeah, there we go. Definitely had something there. Can you see that? Okay, I'm trying to also get it to where you can see this. I don't know, sometimes that's a little bit hard to do. Maybe is it only on this side here? This is, yeah, looks like it. Looks like it. No, of course, it's not on the camera. There you go. Yeah. That looks like it there. Not the most cleaned area. Again, this is something I probably want to let it sit inside something that will better remove some of the materials in here to properly restore this. But I wanted to try a couple of things out. This is one of those nice little experimentation videos. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing, and sometimes it's just nice to be able to try a few things out. So if electronic grade fluxing agent, isopropyl alcohol, things that go in electronics are not enough to create the things that make our engines run. Like the spark plugs is ultimately what starts up the engine is what it does. It is exactly what it does. So anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think. Was this video kind of silly? Was there anything educational, intriguing out of this? Let me know. One of the things I know one person said is like, can I have another camera which just shows a regular view? That is something that I am considering doing if I'm able to get a hold of something. I do like being able to look at things kind of close up, but at the same time, if I can get something out with a little bit better view so that you can see what I'm working on, that's always works better for me. So anyway, though, let me know in the comments below if you've got any questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that, and if not, I will see you around in the next video there. All right, bye-bye. Do I have my mouse cursor on here? Oh, there it is. Hey!